It's about quality before quantity, much more these days. And having like storytelling really makes people care about your accounts. And like, we want to see people. We don't want to see a machine. We don't want to just see an aesthetic video anymore. We want to see people and connect with other people.
This episode is sponsored by TherapyNotes, therapynotes.com. Be sure and check them out, and be sure and use the promo code Gordon, Gordon, and you can try them out for 2 months for free. Over 15 years ago, when I started my private practice, I had to learn a lot, and most of it the hard way, and I don't think you need to do the same. Hi, I'm Gordon Brewer, a licensed psychotherapist, and welcome to the Practice of Therapy podcast, part of the Psychcraft network of podcasts. Join me in this journey of discovery as we have conversations with other leaders and professionals in both the mental and allied health fields. Join us as we explore both the business and clinical sides of running a private practice. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. This is Gordon Brewer, and this is episode number 336 of the Practice of Therapy podcast. Glad you're with me. And if you are just tuning in for the first time, glad to have you with me. And if you're coming back for more, as I like to say, glad you're on this journey with me. And do take time to follow us or subscribe to the podcast wherever you might be listening to it. So I'm looking forward to you hearing my conversation with Julie Soeyland Lier. And this was a unique conversation in that we kind of visit the whole world of social media. I've covered that a good bit on this podcast in the past, just thinking about, using social media as a way of marketing your practice and that sort of thing. But what I loved about my conversation with Julie is that she gave us a little bit of insight into how things are changing and how the landscape of social media is changing. I think about the years that I've been in practice and looking at all the different changes just in social media. I'm dating myself, but I can remember when I first opened a Facebook account, which was, oh my gosh, it's, I hate to say it, but almost 20 years ago that Facebook first came on the scene. And that's a whole story in and of itself. And just thinking about how social media has evolved and, currently, the predominant form is short form videos, but we talk about, using long-term videos and that sort of thing in social media and how that is, all of that is changing and just the algorithms and all of that. But anyway, it's an interesting conversation. And also we just talk about managing social media in that one of the things that you might really want to consider, and this has been a theme for me this year, is learning to outsource more. And shout out to my trusty compadre in this world of the podcast, Rachel. And Rachel does a wonderful job with my social media, and I really don't have to think about it. And she just pulls it all together and just get so many compliments on the job that she does. And it's really made a difference, particularly with this podcast and reaching people. And a lot of people find out about this podcast through social media. So anyway, in this episode, we're just going to talk about some strategies for private practice and hopefully give you some ideas. Before we get to my conversation with Julie, though, I'd love for you to go over and find out about the Practice of Therapy Collaborative. It is a membership community that I started this year or revamped this year, and we are now meeting once a week. And the membership community is for anyone that is looking for support and collaboration in a mastermind style support group, but also we do some teaching and have guest consultants come in, and we have work days as well. So be sure and check it out while the enrollment is now open. It'll be open until the end of June or the first part of July. But one of the things is, if you want to find out more about it, go to practiceoftherapy.com/practice collaborative. And if you enroll before June 29th, you can get $15 off your monthly membership by using the promo code SUMMER24. So be sure and check it out. Again, practiceoftherapy.com/practice collaborative. And also, if you want to have a conversation with me to see if it would be a good fit for you or not, feel free to reach out to me. You can email me, and we can also set up just a 15-minute brainstorming call so that we can see if this is going to meet your goals. Again, practiceoftherapy.com/practice collaborative. So be sure and check that out. And also, one of the things that you've heard me promote here is my friend Ashley's online store, mentalhealthwaretn.com. And she is set up a wonderful online store that is all about helping people promote good mental health awareness, and also, giving some support and some incentive, or I guess motivation, or whatever you want to call it, around addiction recovery. And also, she has got some wonderful T-shirts for those of us in the profession of mental health providers. She's got some wonderful LCSW T-shirts, LPC T-shirts, and LMFT T-shirts, or whatever your profession is. She's probably got one there for you. And also, she does custom designs as well. So if you want to add a name to a T-shirt, that sort of thing, you can do that. They'd make great gifts for your staff. And also, she's got some office decor items and other things that are related to mental health, wellness, and recovery. So be sure and check it out, mentalhealthwaretn.com. And if you go over there and you sign up for the email list, you can get a discount on your first order. So be sure and check it out. And also, before we get to my conversation with Julie, I'd love for you to hear more about one of the members of the Psychcraft Network and their great podcasts, along with some words from our sponsor of the podcast, TherapyNotes.
Hey there, Daniel Fava here, and if you don't know me, I'm the host of the Private Practice Elevation podcast, where I share online marketing strategies and interviews to help private practice owners attract more clients and scale their businesses. The Private Practice Elevation podcast is part of the Psychcraft network of podcasts, and I'm super excited to be a part of this network alongside Gordon and the great work he's doing. If you haven't discovered the Private Practice Elevation podcast yet, you can find it wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'd love for you to join me as we explore topics like building an effective website for your private practice, search engine optimization, content marketing, and copywriting, as well as my conversations with experienced private practice owners about scaling a practice, outsourcing, team leadership, and all things that will help you elevate your business and create the life you love. Be sure to check us out at privatepracticeelevation.com for resources and content to help you in your online marketing journey.
Ready to upgrade your practice from a rusty bicycle to a shiny new sports car? Buckle up, because TherapyNotes is here to turbocharge your journey. It's the comprehensive practice management system you've been craving, equipped with everything you need to navigate patient records, schedule seamlessly, host remote sessions, craft detailed notes, and tackle insurance billing with ease. And guess what? It's your trusty sidekick, available whenever and wherever duty calls. Picture having more quality time with your clients, all thanks to this digital assistant that never clocks out. Here's the kicker. It's Gordon approved, so you can trust it's the real deal. Bid farewell to paperwork headaches and embrace a new era of efficiency and top-tier care. Ready to level up your private practice game? Swing by practiceoftherapy.com/therapynotes and punch in promo code GORDON for 2 months on the house. Enjoy the show.
hello, everyone, and welcome again to the podcast. And happy for you to get to know today Julie Soeyland Lier. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you so much. Hello.
It's good. And we were just chatting a little bit before we hit record. And Julie, you're in Seoul, South Korea. I don't know that I have interviewed somebody quite that far away. Well, that's not true. I interviewed somebody from Australia one time, but just pretty good ways across the earth. But anyway, welcome. And as I start with everyone, why don't you tell folks a little more about yourself and how you've landed where you've landed?
Yes, so I've been a social media manager for 3 years now. I worked in retail and had multiple jobs before, besides high school, but I always ended up being bored. So during COVID, I found about social media management and thought it was a great job opportunity and a lot of opportunities. But being a social media manager, you need a niche and a special people to work with. So when I found out that health and wellness professionals didn't know too much about social media when I did, I would love to help them out because I am all for health and wellness.
Yes. Well, good. Yeah. So, as you've gotten into this, what are some of the things you're learning and what do you feel like people need the most help with?
So, something that can be a little bit difficult with social media is the algorithm is always changing, and that can be very difficult for people who have their own businesses, especially because they have to keep up with their clients as well as social media, and they left maybe their job to not be in a 9 to 5 and have more freedom. So, that is what I provide for them, where they can take a step back, don't worry too much, and still have enough control and accessibility to their business as they want to, but they don't need to be in all of that algorithm stuff all the time and worry too much.
Oh, right. Yeah. So tell us a little more about how you tend to work with therapists and the things that you focus on and pull it all together for them.
Yes, of course. So, what I do is first I do research in whatever field they're working in. So, if that is therapist or before I worked with some spiritual leaders and other type of coaches, I do research within their industry, what people are interested in hearing about, and then I come up with content ideas that would be comfortable for them to film or create for their accounts so they can be visible or not on their account. And I try to make it as engaging as possible so we can reach out to people who actually needs help with social media. But social media, people have such a slow oh, I'm sorry. People have such like a short time span, so it's
Hmm.
very difficult to capture their attention, and therefore I help them make engaging and creative
Hmm.
posts on social media to actually reach out to people so they will also be engaging. So I do that part, and then I can also help with engagement. So if it's too much to always answer, yeah, emails or social media messages, DMs, that kind of stuff, I help with that too, unless they ask very specific health related questions.
Right. Yeah, it seems like I've heard or read somewhere that you have like 3 seconds or so to engage someone with reels
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. Is that what you find is true as well?
Yes, that is very true. Like for myself, my friends, and other people, I have found that when I'm scrolling social media, it's so easy to just be like, okay, this is not interesting. I'm just gonna scroll away. So you need something to really capture in that attention for the first like 3 seconds.
Yeah. So what are you learning about that, or maybe what are some tips about being able to capture somebody in the first 3 seconds? Because I think there's lots of different ways to go about this, either through humor or something outlandish or whatever. But yeah, what are you
Yeah.
finding works well?
So these days, I'm finding that first, physical hook, that when you come up for the video, that they have like a drink or something in hand, or pouring like a drink while they're saying something that will also hook you in at the same time. That is the most effective thing. Also, the title of your video, it can be very important. So for example, then if somebody's doing a story time, they'll be like, this today I got almost got scammed, for example. Something that is really like eye-catching, that will capture somebody's attention, because also it's very important with visual hooks these days, because some people have the sound turned all the way down, but whilst other people are more like just listen. So it's very different. So it's multiple ways you can go about it, but that's
Mm-hmm.
that I recommend people having like something they're doing with their hands or something,
Yeah.
and say something that is very captivating.
Yes, yes. With in working with folks in the mental health field and other healthcare professions, what do you find are some good hooks?
Some good hooks can be storytelling. So, for example, I learned this about ADHD, or I learned this about healthy relationships. These hooks would really reel people in, because people are like, oh, I have maybe thought I had ADHD before. Let me hear, or relationship issues, or checking if they're in a healthy relationship, etc. So
No.
that can really for health and wellness
Right.
professionals.
Right, right. So, I know one of the things that there's been a lot of buzz around and that's with TikTok and whether it's going to stay, particularly, I know you're in Korea, but whether it's going to stay intact here in the United States, I don't know what sort of buzz you've heard about all of that. And yeah.
Yes, that is true. That is very sad that this is happening. But some things that I heard in the social media marketing like community is that they're trying to, the people that are social media managers who are located outside the states can still be running people's social media. So that is
Mm-hmm.
factor two that you can put in and do. The thing that would be a little bit difficult then is that TikTok do really like when you edit in the app and film in the app, but it's also possible to use CapCut, because CapCut is made by TikTok. So then if therapists would have a social media manager, just send them a normal video you take of yourself. They will edit it in CapCut, and then it will still be able to perform well on the
Oh,
platform. So that's a
okay.
possibility.
Okay. Okay, good. That's good information to know. Are there other softwares that you would recommend? I mean, as far as or is do you think it's better to stick with the ones that are kind of native to the I guess social media platform, or what are you finding?
I think that you should never stay on just one platform. You should market yourself on multiple ones. TikTok is very great for finding new people and having a lot of reach, but Pinterest is also a very undervalued one. They also use
Hmm.
SEO, so it is very great for people to get noticed. And if you have a good manager who can get you ranked high on the SEO, that can be used same like similar to TikTok. Also Instagram for community management. LinkedIn is great, as well as Facebook, but I do not work too much on Facebook because I feel like it's getting a bit more outdated.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. What about with Instagram? Do you feel like people are gravitating more to that? I mean, they're, obviously, I think most people know they're owned by the same company and are kind of interconnected. What are you finding with all of that?
So Instagram has gotten a lot of heat because it has changed its algorithm so much, because it's trying to compete with TikTok. And whenever these platforms changes their algorithm, it change it goes through with people too, so they get less views, less likes for sometimes. But the
Hmm.
thing with Instagram is that it is a great platform. It's possible to still reach people, and if you post on there, try to be consistent and post on
Hmm.
there, the platform will reward you and you will find people. I still find some of my clients on Instagram, and I have helped others to do that too.
Right, right. Yeah. So, what are you seeing as far as shifts and kind of the demographics of who uses which apps? I know Facebook's kind of been thought of as kind of the one that the old folks use, and then I guess TikTok is more more of a younger demographic? I'm just making some assumptions here. What are you
Yes.
finding that look? What does that look like?
So I believe for TikTok, it is true that a lot of young people are using it, and that it is very good to reach young people. So there's not too many or older people on there, but there's still some. So don't rule out that for like the older generation as well. But like Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they would most likely be on TikTok. While Instagram is a mix of both, really. It depends on countries. I found out in Asia they use Instagram and YouTube a lot rather than actual TikTok. There's like really, really young kids using TikTok in Asia, while in Instagram is a little bit, people are still a little bit like mixed tones about it. So I do
Hmm.
believe it depends like on your goals and where you're also located.
Yeah. Yeah. How are people using YouTube differently now? I think of YouTube as being more of a long format, but I know that they've got reels and shorts. Well, I guess they're called shorts on there, depending on. Yeah. So what are the trends you're seeing there?
So long form content is coming back because people are getting sick of just seeing like short videos and actually scrolling. It's tiring. So
Hmm.
actually long content is coming back, and it's been coming back this year, I believe. So it's nice to see, but they're first using reels to capture your attention, but then leading you on to their actual YouTube videos. So there will be a
Hmm.
lot of unanswered questions in a short from YouTube.
Right, right. Yeah, I know just even in this world of podcasting, one of the things that is pretty much common practice, and I'm sure I'm going to have to be making some changes here, is that you have the audio version of a podcast that's available on your standard, platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, that kind of thing. But the
Mm.
video version is available on YouTube. So,
Yes, I heard a lot about that recently. I have it in the background sometimes when I'm cleaning the house or something, that I would put on like a podcast on YouTube and still have like the people moving, because it's better to see their facial expressions and the actual
mhm.
emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for that. So, I guess stay tuned, folks. We'll be seeing some changes with this podcast, I'm sure, here in the future. But, well, Julie, tell folks a little bit if they would want to work with you. What's kind of your process for that, and what does that look like?
So, first, what I usually go through is that I check what kind of account they are, what they want to get help with, because some businesses want the most help where I am managing accounts, I am engaging. They don't want to deal with the social media aspect of their business, while others really think of the social media platform as their baby. They want to have more control and this kind of stuff. So it really depends from person to person. And then after deciding that, we make a plan on how to go forward. I send them a link to a Notion where everything is prepared, and I help them with choosing a platform, decide on like their goals, and then start doing research, content ideas, making the content, and then posting.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Do you what are you finding as far as how often people should post on the various platforms?
So, how often really depends on how often you can do consistently, because people spit out consistently a lot when you see tips and tricks on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok. But to be consistent really means how much you can do. So, if you only can do 3 times a week, do those 3 times a week, but hopefully post on the same time. So I would recommend, if you really want like fast growth and you do have the time to put the effort in, then posting every day is great. But I tried myself to post the 3 times a day um, strategy, and the only thing it helps with is finding your voice in it. It doesn't really do too much with push it, like making you go viral. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I guess if somebody figures out the formula for going viral, that'll be a game changer because it seems like it's
Yeah.
probably kind of hit or miss for folks. Yeah.
Yes, it is very different. And honestly, social media managers and everybody, we do as it changes all the time, and it's nobody telling us what to do and what not to do. We are using strategy and checking the algorithms to find out what we can do for our clients as well. So, social media is always a mystery. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Right. And it's ever changing. And yeah, there's, not to get too far off down a rabbit trail, but I think people are starting to maybe get a little bit weary of social media. And so it's
Yeah.
I think that the advantage to that is that that means that people are going to have to put out better content to get people's attention.
Yes, for sure. It's about quality before quantity, much more these days. And having like storytelling really makes people care about your accounts. And like we want to see people. We don't want to see a machine. We don't want to just see an aesthetic video anymore. We want to see people and connect with other people.
Right, right. That's a very good point. And now with the with AI being so much in the forefront, I think that's a
Yes.
good thing to remember. And that I don't know. Hopefully, AI is not going to replace us humans, but yeah, it's got some some good things about it. But I think it's like you said. I think people want that human contact and that human voice with things.
Yeah.
So
That
yeah,
is
so
very.
yeah, so along that topic, before we close out, what are you finding is a good use of AI with social media?
I think AI with social media can be very beneficial for if you want to get stuff done faster. For example, if you are managing your social media by yourself, that you can put into AI to help you with ideas, help you with scripts. But the key with that is not to just copy and paste it, because we do want your human touch on it, so it can help you be more productive in many aspects in your business. So I think that is a great thing about AI.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that I'm noticing is that there are a lot of videos and podcasts even that are using AI voices now. Well, Julie, it's I've got to be respectful of your time, and I appreciate you being on the show. What sort of closing thoughts do you have for folks?
Yes, so what I want to say to the people, if they are hesitant about coming on as a health and wellness coach or professional on social media, there are people out there that needs help. And these days, the new generations that are coming on, they are really desensitized by like reality and that kind of stuff. So if they just can have somebody they can feel connected to and be like, okay, maybe I have this problem, then that can help them a lot. So I really hope that I can see more health and wellness coaches, psychologists, all that kind of stuff on social media, because they can help so many people out there.
Hmm.
So don't be scared to show your face, because I know a lot of people have this issue, for example, or just put yourself out there, because social media is going to be a great part of the future. And I do believe that in a couple of years that almost all businesses has to have some sort of online platform. So why not start today?
Right, right. Yeah. Well, that's very true. And that's been the trend so far. I mean, as far as, just particularly in our field, our profession, you've got to have an online presence for people to even find you now. So, I mean, it's just, yeah, I agree totally with that. And the other takeaway I would say that you've kind of talked about, Julie, is just the importance of human contact and people having a connection. And I think
Mm,
that's, as we know in our profession, particularly as counselors and therapists and those of us in this field, that is at the very core of what we do is helping people connect in a therapeutic way and make that human connection. So yeah,
yeah.
That's great. Well, tell folks how they can find you and connect with you if they'd like to.
Yes, so you guys can find me at JSL Management on Instagram or TikTok. Is JSL.management on both accounts. And there I am easily available on by DMs or comments or whatever. And also if people want to reach out to me by mail, it is JS the line and management@outlook.com.
Well, Julie, it's been great to talk with you. And thanks
Been
for
great.
being on the show and being up at midnight in Seoul, Korea to be on the show. So I appreciate that. Well, thanks to Julie for joining me on the podcast, and hopefully it's giving you some things to think about in terms of your social media management and just how you do things and what you focus on. I think it's always good to revisit this topic just because, as we all know, it's constantly changing. And I think about, as I mentioned at the beginning, how much it's changed since I first started really promoting things on social media, and just how the platforms are constantly changing and all of that. I think it's important to stay on top of that. And also just think about being able to outsource that particular aspect of your practice. I think it's unless it's something that you really enjoy doing. I know it's something that not necessarily my cup of tea to work on a lot of social media, which is why I outsource it and have it done for me. So be sure and check out Julie's things, and you'll find links here in the show notes and the show summary. And also be sure and check out the Practice of Therapy Collaborative. And you can find out more about that by going to practiceoftherapy.com/practice collaborative. And be sure and check it out while enrollment is open here until the end of June, 1st of July. So be sure and check it out. And also take advantage of the early enrollment discount by enrolling before June 29th and using that promo code SUMMER24. And as I mentioned at the beginning, if you want to have a conversation with me about the Practice Collaborative and if it would be a good fit for you, be sure to reach out to me and we'll be glad to set that up. And also, big thanks to our main sponsor of the podcast, TherapyNotes. They are who I use in my practice, and you can find out more about them by going to practiceoftherapy.com/therapynotes. They are really the leading electronic health record system for mental health providers. And as I've said before, they're who I use in my practice, and just couldn't operate without them. So they're really a one-stop place for all of the clinical side and billing needs of your practice, whether you're insurance-based or not. I know for me, one of the things that I love about it is we file all of our insurance claims through TherapyNotes, and it's all handled behind the scenes and pretty much fully automated. So it's a great solution. And also there's just a great client portal there for clients to connect with our practice and make appointments and change appointments and access all of the paperwork and that sort of thing. And it's all done electronically and pretty much paperless. We really have no paper records anymore since moving to TherapyNotes. So be sure and check them out, and be sure and use that promo code, just Gordon, GORDON, and you can try them out for 2 months for free. So thanks again, folks, for joining me for the podcast. We've got lots of great guests lined up for future episodes, and I'm so glad you're with me on this journey. And do take time to follow us or subscribe to the podcast wherever you might be listening to it. And tell your friends about the podcast too, and leave us a review. Love getting the feedback, and it also just helps boost our ratings and helps other people find us. So, love getting your feedback as well about things that you would like to hear, things that you're interested in. And that's why I've got this podcast here, is to help you learn and to support you in your private practice journey. So take care, folks, and we'll be back with you next week. You've been listening to the Practice of Therapy podcast with Gordon Brewer, part of the Psychcraft network of podcasts. You can find out more about the other great podcasts in the network by visiting psychcraftnetwork.com. And if you haven't done so already, please visit us at practiceoftherapy.com and get your free private practice startup guide, along with a lot of other great resources and webinars and free things just by visiting. Also, be sure to follow us wherever you might be listening to your podcasts. This podcast is intended to be educational in purpose and is not intended to give legal, accounting, or counseling advice. If you need a professional, find the right person for that.